Welcome back. Like I promised in the previous audio podcast, I wanted to talk about raised consciousness and snails. So I want to talk about my experience. So as we all raise our consciousness, and as I raised my consciousness, I started to experience things in a little bit different way where I would have these moments of clear awareness, like images in my mind without actually like seeing images, but feeling the images in my mind of different things. And today I want to talk about the experience that I had when I was out for a walk and I saw a snail crossing a path. So I have walked this path for a few years, and every summer around the same time of the summer, I believe it's June if I remember correctly, but there would be a lot of snails and they would be everywhere and they'd be crawling on the path. And me being too much, some people say too much of a sensitive person, too much caring, too much worrying, which I don't believe there's such thing as too much. I used to pick them up and put them in the grass, save them, in other words, and as many as I can, because sometimes there would be so many and I'm like, oh my god, there's so many. Not today. So and this particular summer, which was a few years ago, I was walking and I reached for a snail, and I picked it up and I went to put it down on the ground, kind of like gently toss it, but not really toss it, like kind of like not too high up. So in other words, none of the snails got hurt in this in this movie in this audio. So and as I was tossing the snail, I almost like saw a snail flying through a portal and appearing on this grass, and then having a story to tell everyone. Oh my god, guys, I was over here and then all of a sudden I flew through a portal and I'm here now. I don't know if I'm like explaining of how I visualized it and where that thought came from, and it really came from this, because snails, they move slow. In our opinion, in our experience, snails are slow. To them, they're not. So imagine the snail being picked up by a human, moved from the ground up to the human's height in milliseconds. So to them, that's a portal. It moves so fast, and like I see the spirals and everything not necessarily in the dark, because it's not in the dark, but because it moves so fast, they close their eyes and it feels like it's in the dark. That's a freaking roller coaster ride for a snail. I don't know if they have hearts, but if they do, maybe they end up having a heart attack because of that. And then also another one going down to the ground and then tossing it at even a faster speed than I was moving myself. So that's like 3 different portals that a snail goes through. What an experience. And that to me was like that to me talked about the consciousness, where I was, up until that point, I was not conscious and aware enough of even thoughts like that. And I've shared it with a few people. And I know some people might also be listening to this and thinking or saying the same things as all the other people that have said to me, oh my god, Yana, you're so weird. Really? Like, please don't talk about this. Don't say this out loud. Oh my god, that's so weird, Yana. Like, no, a snail doesn't think like that. And I'm just like, we're not talking about the snail thinking. And then again, maybe we are. How do we know that the snail doesn't have that kind of awareness or consciousness? Most likely not. since we are the only beings on this planet that we know of that are so aware and so conscious and have choice, but maybe so do animals to a certain degree, or insects in this point, or in this example. So that was one example of how I noticed my awareness expanding, my consciousness rising, or has already risen, so that way I'm able to experience that. And then there was another time with the snail where and that was pretty much the time where I started thinking, well, what else is there to it? And the other thing I also thought of, which I thought of before, but it was never like in a way that it actually made sense. It was just like, it's a possibility, but it doesn't really click in. We've all had, sometimes we hear a quote or somebody says something and it kind of like makes sense, but it doesn't fully click until you experience it yourself, and until you understand and you go through things that help you to fully understand it. And then you're like, oh my God, that makes so much sense, right? So, and what it was is, this awareness of everyone is on their own journey. And this is a huge part of a spiritual awakening as well, when we start to recognize that everyone is on their own journey in everything, right? And in this example, the snail is on its own journey. And for a part there, until while our paths were crossing and I was saving them and I was moving them to safety and all of these things, that was part of the journey. And then for me, my part of the journey, and then for those snails that continue to come in my path, is the new level of awareness of, you are on your own journey. So who am I to come and take you from your journey and put you somewhere else? If you're meant to survive, you're going to survive. If you're meant to learn this lesson, you're going to learn this lesson. So you're meant to experience your life in your own way. And my job is to allow you to do that, to let you do that. So I do that. And from now on, I don't move any snails. I don't pick them up unless I just do it without any kind of thought, just like kind of automatically do it, and I find myself doing it, then I'm like, well, that was meant to happen, clearly. But for the most part, I am aware and I don't pick them up and I let them be. And the same thing goes for humans. This is what honestly makes all coaches, of course including myself, I gotta show what I preach. I gotta walk the talk, because this is what I get all of my clients to do, is acknowledge and validate themselves and say, good job, and yes, I am capable of this. And what it is not interrupting the process and not trying to weir the client off their path and not trying to fix the problem for them, but letting them do it, knowing that they're more than capable, that they're on their own journey, that they're on their own path, and they'll figure it out. And my only job here is to listen, ask the right questions. When I say right questions, it's the question that comes to mind. That's the right question, based on what they're talking about, without trying to point them in any kind of direction. So there, that's that. My mind is now clean, empty, and I am ready to go back to cutting the grass and cleaning the front yard. And hopefully this was helpful. As always, please let me know what you thought of, what came up for you, and think of that person that, like I always say, we all know someone who can benefit from this kind of information. And I mean, with this example, with this podcast, with this story, you might not know someone, because like I said, in my life, I have a handful of people that understand, and that's because I have taken a lot of time to find these people and have these types of conversations, and that's why they're able to understand. But in my, locally here, not that many. But if you do know someone who can who would love to hear this, who would understand it, and it would bring them value, then please do all of us a favor. Them, you, me, and send it to them. And subscribe to my channel for more weird information like this, for more weird audio thoughts that come to me every single day, sometimes way too many times in a day, but once in a while I find myself let's just sit down and record it and share it one day with everyone. And I know there's going to be benefit to it, because there was a huge benefit for me over this, and I know that there's people around the world that can benefit from this information. So other than that, thank you for listening. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being you, and keep on being yourself, because that's what you're here for. You're not here to be anybody else. You're here to be you. So live your best life. Be the best you that you want to be. Continue to grow, help, support, and inspire others, and continue to let everyone be on their own journey. I hope that was the lesson that you learned from this audio, because that was the main goal, the main topic. Let everybody else be on their own journey, as they let you be on your journey. Other than that, that is all, folks, as they say, and until next time, bye.